that says new home sales slid 6.8% in June, and now a pace that suggests that maybe things are ebbing a little bit. Katrina Campins and Kendra Todd, realtor experts extraordinaire on what to make of that. Kendra, to you first. Should we worry? Is this a sign that whatever narrative we were given to housing coming back is wrong?
Neil, I don't think so. First of all, new home sales only account for 8% of the entire housing market. So, not enough of a portion of the housing market to make a significant impact on the momentum that we're having. And it's really not all that surprising, to be frank. I mean, we had a huge surge in new home sales early in the summer. I don't think economists expected, it to correct so quickly, during the hot summer months. But, in the Northeast, for example, they had a 78% increase in new home sales. That's simply not sustainable over the long term.
Katrina, when I look at this, too, and how the home builder stocks are getting, hit on this, they had been running up prior. So when you look at this, is this just a blip, or is this, is there something bigger going on here? What do you think?
Well, I think it's important to note that even though new home sales are down, the permits are actually up. And for existing home sales, we're actually at an 8-year high. So the June numbers are actually quite impressive. The reason that these new home sales are down is because a lot of builders are actually focusing on building multi-family properties. And the reason that they're doing that is a lot of homeowners can't necessarily afford to purchase at this time, so the contractors are actually building multifamily residences for renters. So if you analyze the numbers, it's important to actually look beyond that and understand why is this occurring. And it is also very positive that overall existing home prices and sales are actually continuing to go up, and they're the highest they've been in 8 years since July 2006.
Well, yeah, and a lot of points out, and you guys are experts at this, but when you refer to permits, to housing permits, that is often a sign of future construction. It doesn't always pan out quite the way they hope, but it is a sign of activity down the road. But Kendra, even though they represent a small part of the overall market, that's how a lot of people first dig into a market. And I'm wondering can you have the market split in two camps here? The new activity, fresh construction not going when the rest of the market is. What do you think?
Well, first of all, one of the reasons for the big run-up in new home sales is because, we've had first-time home buyers at almost an all-time low, accounting for only about 20% of all home purchasers. That's normally around 30%. So in a lot of markets, they've really been jumping into the new home sales. I really think the greater question is, how sustainable is the current momentum that we have for the real estate market as a whole? Yeah. I mean, certainly we learned our lesson the last time. I really think it's going to come down to the strength of different regional economies to see whether or not over the long term the value gains that we've achieved are going to be able to be maintained in those markets.
We're tight for time, guys, but since you're two Trump apprentice players, very successful ones at that, what do you think of his presidential run? A lot of people say this is a little marketing effort and that he's not serious about running for president. But Katrina, do you think he is, and do you think he'd make a good president?
Yeah, I was on the first season of The Apprentice, so I've known Donald Trump for over a decade now, and I can tell you that he's very serious about this, and he's actually speaking from the heart. I think his campaign is like nothing we've ever seen in the United States, and whether there's controversy involved or not, I think voters are noticing that he's not doing what lobbyists want him to do. He's doing what's best for this country.
Do you think he has a chance? Do you think he has a chance?
I do. I think he has a chance because I think the American people realize that he's, speaking from the heart. So I think he does have a chance.
Kendra, the rap against him for his comment about Mexicans, that he's a bigot. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I think that any time Donald Trump inserts himself into the media, he's going to say things that rub a lot of people the wrong way. Part of his brand is being sensational. But I agree with Katrina in that the one thing that I really, really respect greatly about Donald Trump is he's not afraid to speak his mind, and he's not going to run his campaign like a politician.
That is clear.
I do think that will be a breath of fresh air.
That is clear. Ladies, I want to thank you both. Have a safe weekend. I appreciate it. All right, so there you have it. I do not think Donald Trump is a flash in the pan either. Just